The war started on a Tuesday. Nobody expected it. The Krellian Empire arrived in Earth's orbit with 300 warships, each one the size of a small moon. Their message was simple and cold: surrender in 24 hours, or face extinction. Humanity didn't surrender. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Uns Valiant, watching the enemy fleet through the viewport. She was 32 years old, trained for 15 years, and had never fired a shot in actual combat. None of them had. Humanity's last real war ended 2 centuries ago. The Krellians were different. They had been fighting for thousands of years. War was in their blood, in their culture, in every fiber of their being. They were born warriors, bred for battle, trained from childhood to kill without hesitation. Earth's defense fleet consisted of 42 ships, exploration vessels mostly. Science ships converted to carry weapons they barely knew how to use. The military advisors ran the calculations 3 times. The result was always the same: 0.03% chance of survival. Sarah looked at her crew. Young faces, scared faces. They knew the odds. "All ships maintain formation," she said into the comm. Her voice didn't shake. That was good. The Krellian flagship moved forward. It was massive, covered in armor that had survived 1,000 battles. Weapons bristled from every surface. Sarah could see the scorch marks from previous wars, the dents from enemy fire that never penetrated. A communication channel opened. The face that appeared on the screen made several crew members step back. General Vexara was 7 feet tall, with 4 arms and skin like dark metal. Her eyes were pure black, reflecting nothing. Scars covered her face and neck, each one a trophy from a battle won. She wore armor that looked ancient, passed down through generations of warriors. "Humans," Vexara said. Her voice was deep, echoing through the bridge. "You have chosen death. We respect that choice. We will make it quick." Sarah stepped forward. "We've chosen freedom. There's a difference." Vexara tilted her head. "You have no weapons that can harm us. No shields that can stop us. No experience in real combat. Why do you resist?" "Because someone has to." For a moment, something flickered in Vexara's black eyes. Curiosity, maybe. Or amusement. "Your species is barely 300 years old in space," Vexara said. "We have conquered civilizations that spanned galaxies. We have destroyed empires that lasted millions of years. What makes you think you can stop us?" Sarah smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. "We're human. We don't know when to quit." Vexara nodded slowly. "Then you will die learning." The channel closed. The Krellian fleet opened fire. The first volley destroyed 6 human ships in seconds. They simply ceased to exist, vaporized by weapons humanity didn't have names for. The second volley took out 9 more. The human ships returned fire, but their weapons barely scratched the Krellian armor. Sarah watched her fleet die. She watched her friends, her colleagues, people she had trained with for years, disappear in bursts of light and debris. The tactical display showed red everywhere. 17 ships left. Then 14. Then 11. "Commander," her tactical officer shouted, "we can't win this." "I know," Sarah said quietly. "Then what do we do?" Sarah looked at the Krellian flagship. It sat in the middle of their formation, untouched, unmoved. Vexara was probably watching, counting the human ships as they died. "We do what humans do best," Sarah said. "We adapt." She opened a channel to the remaining ships. "All vessels cease firing. Full power to engines. Pattern Delta 7. Her first officer stared at her. "Commander, that pattern is for asteroid mining. It's not a combat formation. I know. They'll destroy us in seconds. Maybe." The human ships stopped firing and broke formation. They scattered in what looked like random directions, engines burning at maximum power. The Krellian fleet paused, confused by the sudden retreat. Vexara's voice came through the cum. Running will not save you, human. Who said anything about running? Sarah replied. The Valiant dove toward the Krellian flagship at full speed. The other human ships followed, each one targeting a different capital ship. The Krellians opened fire, destroying 2 more ships, then 3 more. But the remaining vessels didn't slow down. They weren't trying to fight. They were ramming. The first human ship hit a Krellian cruiser at point-blank range. Both vessels exploded in a ball of fire that lit up space. The second ship followed, then the third. Each impact destroyed a Krellian vessel. Vexara's expression changed. Not fear, something else. Respect, maybe. Or recognition. They're mad, her tactical officer said in Krellian. No, Vexara said slowly. They're human. The Valiant was seconds from impact when Vexara raised her hand. The Krellian fleet stopped firing. Sarah didn't understand. She was committed now, engines at full power, aimed directly at the flagship's bridge. Impact in 10 seconds. 9, 8. Human commander. Vexara's voice filled the bridge. Stand down. Give me one reason, Sarah said. Because I wish to speak with you. Face to face. 7 seconds. 6. You want to negotiate? Sarah asked. I want to understand. 5 seconds. 4. Sarah's hand hovered over the emergency brake. It would tear the ship apart, but they might survive. Might. 3 seconds. All ships, emergency stop, she commanded. The Valiant's engines reversed at maximum power. The ship shuddered, groaned, but held together. They stopped 300 meters from the Krellian flagship's hull. Vexara smiled. It was not a pleasant sight. Dock with my ship, Commander Chen. Come alone. If you have the courage. The channel closed. Sarah looked at her remaining crew. 5 ships left out of 42. Most of them damaged. All of them ready to die. Commander, this is a trap, her first officer said. Probably, Sarah agreed. You'll be walking into the heart of their flagship, surrounded by thousands of Krellian warriors. You won't come back. Sarah checked her sidearm, made sure it was loaded. Then I'll make it count. She headed for the airlock alone to meet the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy. The airlock opened with a hiss that sounded like a death sentence. Sarah stepped into the Krellian flagship. The corridor was massive, built for warriors twice her size. The walls were dark metal, covered in symbols she didn't recognize. Battle honors, probably. Kill counts. The air smelled like iron and something else. Blood, she realized. Old blood. 6 Krellian warriors waited for her. Each one was armed with enough weapons to destroy a building. They stared at her with those black eyes, calculating, measuring, deciding how easily they could kill her. Sarah kept walking. Her hand stayed away from her sidearm. Drawing it would be suicide. Not drawing it might be too. Either way, she was dead if they wanted her dead. They led her through corridors that seemed to go on forever. She passed training rooms where young Krellians practiced with blades and guns. She passed armories filled with weapons from 100 different wars. She passed trophy rooms displaying the flags and symbols of civilizations that no longer existed. The Krellian Empire didn't just win wars. They erased entire species from history. Finally, they reached a large chamber. The doors opened, and Sarah walked inside. General Vexara stood in the center of the room. She had removed her helmet, but kept her armor. 3 of her 4 arms rested on different weapons at her belt. The 4th arm gestured for Sarah to approach. You came alone, Vexara said. That was foolish. You asked me to. I did not think you would listen. Humans usually don't. Sarah stopped 10 feet away. Close enough to talk. Far enough to maybe dodge if Vexara attacked. Maybe. You wanted to understand something, Sarah said. What? Vexara walked around her slowly, studying her like a scientist studying an insect. Your species is weak, physically inferior. Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are toys. Your military training is a joke compared to ours. Yet you fought us. You destroyed 7 of my ships. You were willing to die rather than surrender. Why? Because it's our home. Many species say that. They all died anyway. Then why did you stop the battle? Sarah asked. Vexara paused. For the first time, something like emotion crossed her face. Because in 3,000 years of warfare, across 50 galaxies, I have never seen a species use suicide attacks in their first engagement. Most civilizations need to lose hundreds of battles before they become that desperate. You did it immediately. That is either stupidity or something else. Something else? Adaptability, innovation, the willingness to break every rule of warfare in the first 10 minutes. Vexara stepped closer. That makes you dangerous. Sarah felt her heart pounding. Dangerous enough to leave us alone. No. Vexara's hand moved to her belt. Dangerous enough to eliminate you completely. Before you become a real threat. She drew a blade. It was beautiful in a terrible way. 3 feet long, curved, covered in symbols. The edge glowed with a faint blue light. Energy blade, Sarah realized. It could cut through ship armor like paper. Vexara held it casually, like it weighed nothing. In Krellian tradition, when we find a worthy opponent, we give them a chance to die with honor. Single combat. If you win, your species lives. If you lose, we destroy Earth and every human colony. Sarah stared at the blade, then at Vexara. You've been training with weapons since you were born. I've been a commander for 3 years. That's not a fair fight. War is never fair, Commander Chen. That's why we always win. Vexara tossed a second blade across the room. It clattered at Sarah's feet. Same size, same glow. Same ability to kill her in one hit. Pick it up, Vexara said. That Sarah didn't move. Her mind raced through options. She could refuse. Vexara would probably kill her anyway. She could pick up the blade and try to fight. She would lose in seconds. Or she could do something else. Something unexpected. She picked up the blade. It was heavier than it looked. The handle felt wrong in her hand, designed for someone with different proportions. The balance was off. She had held weapons before, but nothing like this. Vexara smiled. You've never used an energy blade before. No, good. It would be boring otherwise. Vexara moved into a combat stance. All 4 arms spread out, 2 holding weapons, 2 ready to strike. She looked like she was born for this. Probably was. Sarah held the blade in front of her, trying to remember basic training. Block high, strike low. Keep moving. Don't die. Any last words? Vexara asked. Sarah looked at the blade in her hand. Then at Vexara. Then back at the blade. Something clicked in her mind. A memory from engineering school. From physics class. From the 100 boring lectures about energy systems and weapon design. She smiled. Yeah, Sarah said. You're holding it wrong. Vexara's expression froze. What? Your blade? The energy matrix is inverted. You're using 70% more power than necessary and getting half the cutting efficiency. The grip orientation is backwards for the weapon's center of gravity. And the activation sequence is completely wrong for this model. Vexara looked at her blade, then at Sarah. Impossible. I've used these weapons for 40 years. Doesn't mean you're using them correctly. Sarah adjusted her grip on her own blade, rotating at 30 degrees. The glow brightened immediately. See? Better energy flow. Sharper edge. Your weapons designers knew what they were doing. Your warriors just never read the manual. For 3 seconds, Vexara stood completely still. Then she started laughing. It was a deep, rumbling sound that echoed through the chamber. She laughed so hard she had to lean on her blade for support. Her warriors at the door looked confused. They had probably never heard her laugh before. "You," Vexara said between laughs, "are either the bravest human alive or the craziest. Can't it be both?" Vexara wiped her eyes. "You face death, and you give me weapons advice." "Well," Sarah said, "if I'm going to die, might as well die teaching." Vexara looked at her blade again, then adjusted her grip the way Sarah showed her. The glow intensified. She took a practice swing. The blade hummed differently, sharper, cleaner. "Better," she admitted. Vexara lowered her blade. She stared at Sarah for a long moment, those black eyes revealing nothing. Then she did something Sarah never expected. She sat down, not in a chair. Right there on the floor, cross-legged, all four arms resting on her knees. The blade lay across her lap. She gestured for Sarah to do the same. Sarah hesitated, then sat down facing her. They were 5 feet apart now, close enough that either could strike in a heartbeat. But something had changed. The killing intent was gone. "Tell me something, human," Vexara said quietly. "How did you know about the blade?" "I'm an engineer. Was an engineer before I became a commander. I studied energy systems, weapon designs, propulsion mechanics. When I saw your blade, I recognized the energy signature. It's similar to tech we've been developing. Your version is centuries ahead of ours, but the principles are the same. And you saw the flaw immediately?" "It wasn't a flaw. It was just inefficient use. Like using a hammer to pound in a screw. It works, but there's a better way." Vexara nodded slowly. "For 3,000 years, we have used these blades, passed down through generations. We mastered the art of killing with them. We perfected every strike, every stance, every technique. But we never questioned if we were holding them correctly." She looked at Sarah with something like wonder. "Because we never needed to. We always won, until today. No, we still won today. Your fleet is destroyed. Your planet is defenseless. But..." Vexara paused, choosing her words carefully. "For the first time in my life, I wonder if winning is the same as being right." Sarah felt her breath catch. This was the moment. The real battle wasn't about blades or ships or weapons. It was about this. "Why do you fight?" Sarah asked. "Because we are Krellian. War is our purpose, our identity. Without conquest, we are nothing. That sounds lonely." Vexara's expression hardened. "We are not lonely. We are strong. We are feared across galaxies. We are..." "Alone," Sarah interrupted. "You said you've conquered 50 galaxies, destroyed countless civilizations. Where are they now? Who do you talk to? Who challenges you? Who teaches you that you're holding your blade wrong?" Vexara said nothing. "You're not strong," Sarah continued. "You're extinct. You've killed everyone who could have been your friend, your partner, your equal. You're the last species standing in an empty universe. And you call that winning?" "You know nothing of our culture," Vexara said coldly. "Then teach me. That's what we do. Humans, I mean. We learn, we adapt. We take something broken and fix it. We take something good and make it better. You showed me your blade, and I made it sharper. What if we could do that for everything? You want us to stop fighting? I want you to start building." Vexara stood up abruptly. Sarah tensed, ready for the killing blow. But Vexara just walked to the viewport and stared out at Earth. "I have killed so many," Vexara said quietly. "Thousands in personal combat. Millions through orders. Entire planets went silent because I commanded it. I am a weapon, Commander Chen. Weapons don't build. They destroy." Sarah stood and walked to the viewport beside her. "My grandfather was a soldier in Earth's last war. He killed people. A lot of people. When the war ended, he didn't know what to do with himself. He thought he was just a weapon too. What did he do? He became a teacher. Taught engineering to kids who didn't know the difference between a circuit and a potato. He said learning to build was harder than learning to kill. But it was better. He died happy, surrounded by students who loved him. That's a better ending than dying alone on a battlefield. Vexara turned to face her. You think I can change? After 3,000 years? I think you already have. You stopped the battle. You brought me here. You listened. That's not what a mindless weapon does. For a long moment, they stood in silence. Outside the viewport, Earth turned slowly, blue and green and beautiful. Defenseless. If I order my fleet to leave, Vexara said slowly, my own people will call me weak. They will challenge my command. They may kill me. Then let them try. You've won 1,000 battles. Win one more. The most important one. Vexara looked at the blade in her hand, then at Sarah. You would help us? After we attacked your world? Killed your people? That's what humans do. We help, even when it's stupid. Even when it's dangerous. Even when it makes no sense. Sarah smiled. Especially then. Vexara was quiet for a long time. Then she touched a communicator on her wrist and spoke in Krellian. Sarah didn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. Command, authority, final decision. The Krellian fleet began to move. Away from Earth, back toward deep space. I am ordering a full withdrawal, Vexara said. Earth will be marked as protected territory. No Krellian ship will approach your system without permission. Sarah felt tears in her eyes but refused to let them fall. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is not mercy, Commander Chen. This is investment. You will teach us what you know. Engineering, science, this adaptability you speak of. And we will teach you warfare, strategy, survival. We will learn from each other. An alliance? A partnership. The first in Krellian history. Vexara handed Sarah her blade. Keep it. Fixed grip, better efficiency. Show your engineers. Let them improve it further. When we meet again, I want to see what humans can do with Krellian technology. Sarah took the blade carefully. When will that be? Soon, we have much to learn. And for the first time in 3,000 years. Vexara smiled, and it was almost warm. I'm looking forward to it. 2 weeks later, Sarah stood on Earth, watching the news reports. The Krellian Empire had contacted the United Nations. They wanted to establish an embassy. They wanted to share technology. They wanted teachers and students and engineers. The war that started on a Tuesday ended on a Thursday. But the real story, the one that would change everything, was just beginning. Sarah looked at the blade on her desk, glowing softly in the dim light. She had held it wrong at first, just like everyone else. But she learned. That's what humans do best. They learn.